I want to start off by saying thank you for coming to Newark People's Assembly community meeting for the William Mobile Ashley Community Training Center. I want to thank the police department for opening up their doors to me. Thank you, Director Franche, Captain Wilson, and Tremaine, and Carrillo. I knew Carrillo, but I didn't know what title I would give you a title. I want to thank the mayor and the council, woman LaMonica, Ivy McGuire, Councilwoman Roundtree, Councilman Crump, Councilman Council always making me laugh, but thank you all. And the fire department, Latina, thank you for coming out, and everyone else. So we'll start with the presentation. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How are you? My name is Leo Carrillo. I'm a captain here in Newark PD. I work in the Consent Decree and Planning Division, part of the unit that's responsible for enacting reform in the PD. Been working there for the last about 6 years or so. Started back in 17 in that consent decree space. And again, been on the department since 1998. Newark native, born and raised, went to school here, still here. My involvement in this process, because of that unit, is not only responsible for consent decree, but also planning projects for the department, right? So I was involved for the last couple of years to sort of work with the developers and go through the building. So I'd like to sort of share with you some of the work, some insight that some of the thought that went into sort of the layout of the building. So again, this is the most up-to-date rendering of the facility, and you'll notice two buildings here. The building on the right is a parking deck to accommodate roughly about 200 cars, and the facility on the left is, again, that sort of community care center and training facility, and it has about three stories plus a basement. So here we're going to show you a time lapse, right? So you guys remember the Bergen Street School, and this will show you the sort of progress that we went through in terms of taking it down and putting up the structure. Once the foundation went up, the building went up really quick after that. It's funny, I work here in this building here at 40 Clinton Avenue, and the side of the building has windows, and we're able to see this from the window. So every morning I walk by and I'm able to see sort of the progress. So I kind of lived to see how this thing went up, and it went up very fast once they got going. Here's another view from one of their trailers of again, that sort of timeline progress of how it went up and the work that was sort of involved. And again, this involved a number of closures on Bergen Street just to get the cranes in. The actual parking deck itself came in pieces, prefabricated. So got brought in by trucks, and they actually placed that all together. So this stuff was sort of done by hand on site. This here was precast in other places and was brought in. So that's why it went quick. I'm going to go through the layout, but this is an example of the auditorium. So within the building on that first floor is a 500-person auditorium. Again, with the stage, audio visual, you can run movies, you can run presentations, you can run graduations, you name it. You're limited by your imagination. Now, here's a first floor view. And again, the idea was always, community first. It was always the thought of this space and how we're going to sort of leverage it as best we can for as many groups as possible. So again, this is the front, so this would be Bergen Street over here. And again, as you walk in through that main entrance, you're going to have, on the left-hand side, these are administrative offices. So whoever is sort of working in this building, whether it be instructors or what have you, would sort of fill in these offices in this space here. Here you have a community outreach room, again, right at the very beginning and entrance. As you walk through, right here on the right-hand side, you have a monumental staircase. And this monumental staircase it's all the way open, all the way up to the third floor. One of the sort of things that we did with this monumental staircase is we put some messaging on the risers of the stairs. So as you go up the stairs, because again, the vision is to have some training for community, but some training for police, training for fire. So there's some sayings, right, on those risers. Things like, The police are the community are the police, things like that, like Peelian principles, Omni's risers, right? So some of the things that are going to go on there. And again, as you walk through, this is that 500-person auditorium with the stage. And again, the idea being you could have, again, limited by your imagination as to what could actually happen here in terms of graduations for, say, community workshops that we have, events that we have for the public safety, for, again, community, whatever it is. You have a big, ample room, 500-person auditorium that can sort of accommodate all that. Across from the auditorium, you have a cafeteria. Right now, it's set up to accommodate about 130 people in this space. And again, you have a warming kitchen, you have refrigerators, again, all area to be able to run whatever you'd like. So, like, instead of having sort of food on tables, we actually have like professional setup, like warming stations where you keep food warm, refrigerators keep stuff cold. You'll be able to store and set up for like big events. Here you're going to have receiving areas, so there's going to, like, if there's deliveries, whatever has to be done, you have an area to accommodate for that. A couple conference rooms within the space, again, to just, again, the flexibility of the space. As we go up to the second floor, this is your area. We're going to have a lot of the classrooms. One of the things that we did when sort of coming up with this is we wanted to tour different training facilities around the state and the region just to get an idea of what we wanted. One of the places we visited was the NYPD's Academy. And I went there not knowing what I was looking for. The moment I walked into a tiered classroom, the way it was set up for them, I realized this is what I was looking for. So we told the architects, this is really important. And what it is, a design of it, you have sort of room to accommodate over 100 people, but they're completely surrounding the instructor. And you don't even need, it's a huge room, you don't even need a mic to talk to them, because the way it's set up, you have good audio-visual for the room. So, everyone's centered in on the middle. It was perfect. So we got at least 2 of those spaces. And again, just a number of classrooms all around. Some classrooms accommodate up to about 30 people, others a bit larger. This one here on the end could actually split and turn into a full, again, about 120 people into one classroom space with a divider. As you go down to this area of the building, you have scenario-based training area. So in this space, we have things like a storefront or bodega. We have an apartment with bathrooms, bedrooms, kitchen. We have, again, other rooms, an area with cells, hallways, again, all to be used for part of training. Another thing we did is we actually put in a police car and a Jeep Cherokee SRT, old police vehicles. And what we did is we removed engine, transmission, gas tank, and we installed inverters inside, attenuated the siren to actually run through scenarios with these vehicles inside the building, again, in the safety of inside the building. Again, as you go through, you have area, again, more multi-use or flex spaces to, again, interact with students. Another area in the very middle is, again, this virtual training space. One of the systems that we have for this is called the Virtua 4K system. It's 300 degrees of video screens that you could interact with. One of the amazing things about this system is that we could actually create our own scenarios that could be Newark specific. We could literally go out into the community on a corner anywhere we'd like, film, based on their protocols, whatever scenario we'd like to sort of have play out. That, again, that could be done for community, it could be done for police, for fire, whatever have you, and just sort of interact with these video-based systems in here. We have driver simulator, again, that's going to go in this space, and again, flex space just to use for this training. Finally, the third floor has a 1/8 mile running track around the outside. You have an open training, like sort of gymnasium area in the middle. You have locker rooms on the right-hand side. You have male, female, and overflow in the middle. You have a weight room, like a fitness room, and you have a mat room. So if you want to do some kind of self-defense or unarmed defense type training, you have a full mat room in here in case we have like jiu-jitsu class or something like that. We'd be able to run those out of that space. You have locker rooms for the staff as well. And again, this is just a shot of that sort of that monumental staircase that I was talking about earlier. It goes all the way up to the third floor. And so where are we in the project? We're getting close to completion. One of the things that again was thought about is potentially getting a certification for police training in this building. There's a number of requirements that we have to meet the state, so there'll be sort of inspections that we're planning for to come in and sort of inspect the facility for that. So that's kind of where we're at, to try to, make sure that we hit those benchmarks in terms of what the state is setting and have those folks come out and do that inspection. We're hoping to do that in the next couple of weeks. So that's pretty much where we're at, and happy to answer any questions in case anyone has any. Yes?
The 500-seat auditorium, is that for community use?
Absolutely. Again, the community is first in mind with this, right? So an important thing that's going to be is scheduling, right? Working with community to schedule trainings, to schedule events, to schedule whatever it is we have, and be able to and sort of again, it's for the community first, number one. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Let me jump in. Thank you, Captain Korea. We appreciate that. Ultimately, just in full transparency, I was thinking about this. Building initially came because of our struggles with the state around us, the city, spending our money to send people different places around the state and not getting enough of what we needed in a period of time, police and fire. It takes a long period of time to get people through these things, and sometimes everybody don't go through, and it takes years to get the number that you need, and it's better for us to get a larger number of people in at one time. So, that we began thinking about that. But, also in that, because what I'm focused on is we wanted to make sure that this facility is we're not solely investing city money to build a building that's only going to be used for an academy, right? So we wanted to build a community-based center that we could train everybody in. You could train police in, you could train fire, you could train all our social workers there who are part of Office of Violence Prevention, train all our outreach workers. They can get scenario-based training, all kinds of training in there, but also opportunities for community-based organizations in this area to use it for their own trainings, whether even schools use it for teacher training, right? Even community groups to use it for meetings and other kind of opportunity to train kids and train the people in their under their service. Southwell Promise Neighborhood, the work that they do, Clinton Hill Community Action and the work that they do in this area should be able to use this property. In fact, we met with them to try to bring them in ahead of time so that they could be a part of having some space in the building, in terms of directed and management, so that folks could come in and do constant work with the community in the building. So we envision this as a community, multi-purpose kind of center, obviously being used primarily to train people in community care. That's why we say community care. Train people in community care. And what does community care look like? It looks like police, it looks like fire, it looks like social work, it looks like outreach work, it looks like teachers, it looks like after school workers, all kind of folks, community people who do work for the community to care for them. In any other capacity or any kind of capacity we can imagine, we want to use this facility for that. And graduations and opportunities to award people. Right now we do graduations of our citizen clergy in a bunch of churches. We can do it here. We as well. We do graduations of all academies and classes of all these things. We can do it there. There are various kind of graduations and things that we can use, and we can do it in this building. We also can use those classrooms very, very, very specifically and intently for deliberate purposes of training community. So I don't want people to see this building and be like, oh, this is the police building. No, it's a community building that the police use. And I want us to build a kind of culture in this city where all of us are part of the same community. That the police come from this community, they work in this community, they train in this community. The fire come from this community, they work in this community, they train from this community. And the same with the social workers and everybody else that are here doing the work. Before I go forward, Latina Berg here will be managing the entire facility. You can see she's you can do your prayer party after this. But at the end of the day, we're going to have somebody in there that's in charge of police academy, in charge of fire academy, but we also have to have somebody that's in charge of the building, right? Because the building has to be, as Captain Carrillo pointed out, it has to be managed in the sense that scheduling and all this other kind of stuff. And I think it will be responsible for making sure that the community has access, full access to the building in the times that they need it, and the police are there, and the fire are there, and the times that they need it, and that schedule is coordinated properly, and have relationships with all these organizations and people that are using this facility, because we desperately need that, and I think that she's perfect for doing that. She's already doing community service work in the fire service right now, and I thought it was appropriate for her to be able to manage the entire facility. And I look forward to that. So again, yeah, congratulations to you, and I'm sure you'll do well. And because you really need somebody that's attuned to the community, that understand law enforcement and fire and all that, but also attuned to the community, to understand that, listen, the community got to use the building as well. Like, can't have people at the door be like, oh, you can't come in. Oh, you can't come in. We need somebody there. We need you in. Like, come on, come use this space, come use this facility. And I know how that could be, because we get very territorial with new toys. So I want us to understand that the new toys are all of ours.
Yes.
And she's going to do that. And I picked the name William Mobile Ashby because it's a community care facility,
Yes.
right? And William Mobile Ashby is the first African-American social worker in the entire state of New Jersey. And was one of the founders of the Urban League here in Newark and the United Way of Essex West Hudson as well. And you know, the local chapter here of Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was one of the 14 founders of that as well. In no particular order of importance. So, but at the end of the day, I thought that it's relevant, you know, for us to use it as that. And I think the name itself is going to attract people, attract groups like the United Way, right? Attract people like the Urban League, attract all these groups to come here and be a part of what we're doing over here in the South Ward, like to have a real relationship with law enforcement and public safety, because in Newark, while everything else is going around the country, we're trying to make sure that public is back in public safety. So everything that we do around public safety has to have a part of the public in it, which is what this really is about, is an opportunity to showcase to everybody. If you're going to build a facility like this, then you have to have a front door open for the community to be able to come in and out and use the space as well. And I'm glad the council people are here so you can understand what's happening and you get the word before we do our groundbreaking. When we first go in the building, all of it is not going to be finished, right? We're having a TCO, so that means there's parts of it that's not, the auditorium is probably not going to be finished. There's you know, the parking lot or something else, parking garage, some of it may not be fully complete, but we still will begin using that building. As soon as we do that groundbreaking, we're going to go right in there and start using the facilities that we can use right away. And probably the community folks will probably be in there even before the academy folks, because we still got to get the certification, and that takes time. Hopefully we got that thing covered and these people won't fight us and we got it solid. But you know, the community will be able to go into the building as soon as it's made available. So any questions that people have, I'll definitely entertain them.
What Mayor, is that semi-annual conference room that you're talking about, would that be available under the TCO? Or at least
Yeah.
Without the auditorium, at least you can
Yep.
still be able to have group sessions?
Yep. You'll be able to, all of those little mini classrooms and stuff that he was talking about, most of that stuff should be ready to go, right? The auditorium is a little bit more complex and it may not be ready, you know, and they have some work to do that involves the city. Like, you know, we have to check off on a few things before we give them a full CO. So you'll be able to use those conference rooms or classrooms that they have. And there's a community room in there when you first walk in. I hope people didn't miss that point. When you walk in, there's a community room where you can have community meetings at. The purpose of building that community room is so we can have community meetings in a room kind of like this, but bigger. In a room like this, in there, a community room right there. But the classroom space will be available immediately, so people can use it. I know we were trying to get this MOU together with Clinton Hill Community Action, Southwood Promise, maybe even the health center that's around here, to be able to, listen, if we could get the health clinic that's here to train people from Weekway to be nurses in that facility, that would be a home run, right? That would be a home run. If we can get them to do that, That's exactly what we need the building for them to get over there and get Beth Israel to come over here and train some of the kids from Weekway or Shabazz. I said Weekway because they got the Allied Health Program. Train some of those kids in the health professionals right there in the building. That's what the design is for. Train people that's going to take care of our community. So I just want us to be creative and innovative like that when we're thinking about this. I know there was a concern that Cynthia brought to me in the last walkthrough was about the community having access to the property. I just want to make it very clear to folks in here and on who watching it live with us that the community, as the captain said, is a primary concern here. We want to make sure that you have full access to this building, but obviously you have to schedule it and do it through Latina Burr here and make sure that it is right and in order and that it is a part of what we need to use the property for. So we obviously not going to have baby showers and all kinds of other things in there. And you know how we do, you know what I mean? And repasses and all that stuff. Listen, I know how we do. And one day that might even happen because some people will get weak and be like, let them have repasses. But I get it. But the purpose of the property is to make sure we're training people in the things that they need. All kind of training. Even I know we have something called the Newark Street Academy that looks for spaces all the time, that trains young people who did not graduate from high school to give them access to the GED and to college. In fact, I just left the College of St. Elizabeth talking to over 30 young people from Newark that went through our Guaranteed Education program. Very, very inspiring. And they had a summer program before they went there, and that summer program could take place in this property. The summer program is just really a preparation to give them everything they need. We get ready to transition you to college. You need to have a summer session first. I wish I had a summer session before I went to college. But we need that, and we have to be creative about using the space for that. So I don't want anybody to feel limited about what they think this can be used for.
Councilman Prepaz.
Yes.
I got
Go ahead. Come in, brother. Come in.
Quick one. With regards to public using it, it's open now, the whole city, right?
Yes, it's open to the entire city, not just the South Ward. Everybody can use it. We obviously want to anchor the South Ward institutions in the building. So as I spoke to Katim, I told him when people come from other places, we want them to host them, right? So there's no confusion, right? We want you to host them. So obviously you go through Latina, but she's gonna have some conversations with Katim and them because we need to make sure that there's some order here. That's all. So everybody in the city, any organization in the city, and any ward in the city can use this space. Absolutely.
South Ward Police District as an organization that normally meets here, will they be able to have access to the apparatuses of training that you talked about that can happen over there? And will it also be field trip accessible for some of the elementary schools in the area?
Yeah, I don't see why that's a problem. I think a field trip is a good idea. That kids should come in and see the property, and what they should see is a variety of different people using the building for multi-purposes, right? They just see the police upstairs, the community folks downstairs, social workers in one room, kids in another room. They just see all of those things happening that we use in the building. That is really what community looks like, right? That this is what community looks like. Yeah, go ahead.
That the local workforce development, we have the vendors to do the GED, the
Yes.
CNA and all that, so we can get somebody to go in the train, they can do the GED program and
Yes,
then.
they absolutely can. In fact, we talked about it at our Friday meeting. That was one of the things that Karen Gaylord brought up. And that's exactly right. So the workforce now trains a lot of people in various sites. We can use this property to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can use this property. Yes, ma'am. No fee. No fees. So the only thing you have to worry about is the scheduling time. So there should be no fee for anybody that is Newark residents or Newark-based organization. This is why I wanted the Southwell organizations to host people. Because, you know, you'll get people from other municipalities to want to use the building for certain purposes, and they need to be hosted by somebody here. They can't just, I don't want people to say, oh, everybody from Montclair is using the facility and we not. And everybody don't know everybody, so I would rather the South Water organizations host people and say, listen, you guys can use the property, you guys can use the property, you need to speak to Latina Bird, this is how we do it, this is the process, this is the application, this is what you need to do to schedule your event here. So there should be no fee for any organization that's in our city to use this property at all. You already paid for it. Any other questions about it? No?
Looks good.
Well, I mean, hopefully you get to, I know some people got a chance to go inside. Hopefully we'll get another opportunity to do another walkthrough. Hopefully we can get more community people to be able to walk through the facility and see the building. And do you have the rendering up, the front?
Yes, sir.
So this is the clean version of what it should look like. You see on the front, it says, oh, that was nice, William Mobile William Mobile Ashby Community Care and Training Center. That's what it is. And we have the city seal up there. So, and I think this is gonna say City of Newark. So it'll be clear what the property is for, and that is for use. I know email and some other things went out earlier. They told me about it this morning. I checked that and said, yo, this is not correct. This has to be changed and taken down. And so we corrected it on this version of it. And you know, the good thing is that the people who are building the building understand what needs to happen. Right? That's the important thing. So they're clear on the direction we need to go. And by God's grace, we put it together like that. I'm excited about the property. I think it's a beautiful property, and it's going to be an incredible addition to the city and a great addition to this community as well. It's just basically how we use it. Buildings are useless unless people use them. Right? The building is just a monument until people can go in there and actually use it. So it doesn't become a training facility until we actually train people in it.
Will it be some historic information in there,
Yes.
training, some of the things that happened? You know, we lost some folks in 9/11. Will we be able to have information there? The 2 fire officers that we lost, just historical information as well as from William Ashby Mosley, some information
Yep.
about who he was.
So we can do the fire. I know these guys are planning on taking some of the museum, the artifacts that you have from the fire department and other stuff, to put some of that stuff in here. That would be great to put some stuff up about some people that we lost, you know, in service up here. That would be great. We will have a bust of William Mobile Ashby there. So there will be a bust of him. You'll be able to see him and a plaque that describes who he is when you walk into the property. Yeah, so we want people to actually know who he was, you know, and that's the work that he did and the time that he did it in is incredibly inspiring for all of us, honestly, at that time period, you know, in the middle of segregation and all kind of other stuff, to be able to do the work that he did is incredible. Yep. So,
Great, great.
thank you.